Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. Now, I want to give, if I can call it a disclaimer, because I want you to understand that we should be offended at sin. Sin should be offensive. It's offensive to God and it should be offensive to us. Now, the point really isn't our offense at sin as much as it is our attitude when we are offended. And now that being said, I want to talk about the sin of indignance. It's a little sin because, quite frankly, a lot of times we don't know we become indignant. Well, what is indignance? It is a feeling or showing of anger or annoyance at what is perceived as unfair treatment, or a feeling of anger mingled with contempt or disgust, or as I call it, being easily offended. Now, that has been something that has plagued us for at least 20 years, probably longer, but it's really been amped up with things like cancel culture and whatnot. So I wanted to address it because it can easily fall into the sin category. Now, what are some things that people are easily offended about? Well, first of all, other religions. If that religion doesn't agree with mine or is completely contrary to mine, I'm going to be indignant, offended, and hold picket signs, and I'm going to protest and so forth and so on, just like any other thing that easily offends us. Politics. We're in the season, and people are easily offended at your side of your side of the spectrum, and you're offended at other people's side of the spectrum. Music has always been a contention, whether it be in the church or just certain genres. How can you possibly like this type of music? How can you possibly like that type of music? It's been an ongoing thing, and it still is even to this day. Video games, not only video games themselves, or they're violent, or they promote this and that, or they're a waste of time, or there's all kinds of excuses. TVs, movies, and sports. You just talk to a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan or any sports fan, and you like something that they don't like, and see how offended and quickly they get. Or how about opinions in general? Opinions on legalizing marijuana, abortion, unwed mothers, gay marriage, gender whatever type people. Law enforcement, military, Black Lives Matter, standing up for the anthem, kneeling for the anthem, prayer in schools. Whatever doesn't line up with our thinking is evil. That's the idea here. Finding the devil in everything. I addressed this some time ago when I talked about the devil's tactics. The devil's in this type of product. The devil is over here. The devil is part of this, and the devil is part of that. We see the devil everywhere. Or how about just being told you're wrong? When people are flat out wrong, but they will dig in their heels and they will die on that hill, even though they're dead wrong, and there's evidence, complete, full evidence that they are wrong. These are the things that people get completely and quickly upset about, because they feel they have to sometimes. They feel like they are what used to be called the social justice warriors, and they need to stand up for the little guy, stand up against the things that they deem offensive. Now, why is indignance a sin? Well, first of all, it involves judging others. Matthew 7, 1 through 5. Right away, somebody gives an opinion, and you quickly judge that person based on their opinion. We miss the good, and that is a big one. We're so vehement against something, we don't see the good in it. Now, I'm not saying there's good in the sin that happens in this world. If God called it a sin, it's a sin. End of story. There is no good in it. But that being said, there are times when we have a perception that it's evil, and we're not looking at the good. There's plenty of good there, but we're not looking at that. We're only looking at what is evil. It becomes wrath. Acts chapter 7, verses 55 to 58, and John chapter 10, 29 to 33 are good examples of that. Indignance lacks compassion and love. Luke 18, 35 to 39. And above all, really, it's arrogance. We think our point of view is right, and no one can tell us any differently. I'm right because I'm right. I know more. I'm superior. And that is the attitude that we present ourselves. And it doesn't matter the point of view, whether we're dead wrong or not. And of course, it stops us from listening to others. Proverbs 18:13. So what do we do about it? First of all, we listen to the point of view of others. We can disagree, but we can hear people out. And in turn, they should be able to hear us out as well. You can debate your points, but to get vehement and shake your fist and get angry at people over their points of view isn't going to help anybody. It certainly doesn't help when they're angry and bitter at your point of view. We need to allow for Christian liberties, because there are some Christians who think a certain way and there are Christians who think another way, and sometimes they don't align. Well, as long as it's not the doctrine of Scripture they're arguing about, because that should be consistent and we should agree on the doctrines. The gray areas we should sometimes live and let live. And also consider your reaction to what offends you. Be careful of how you respond to people. We should always respond to people in love, even if they are wrong. Now, you have to pray about what exactly that means and what that entails. But listen to God's Spirit on the moving of how you respond to people. And sometimes the best response is just to smile and nod and say, okay, you're allowed to have your opinion, and let God, keep praying for those people. And pray for yourself that you respond properly. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.